Have you ever wondered about the real story behind Sodom and Gomorrah? It's one of the most dramatic and debated stories in the Bible, a tale of divine judgment, mercy, and the consequences of human choices. Today we're going to journey back in time deep into the book of Genesis to explore this powerful narrative and uncover the lessons it still holds for us. So grab a seat and let's dive into the full story of these infamous cities. Our story begins with Abraham, a figure of immense faith, who receives three mysterious visitors by the Oaks of Mamre. As he offers them hospitality, one of them reveals that they are on their way to a place called Sodom. Why? Because as the scripture says, the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and their sin is very grave. Now, what exactly was this great sin? Well, the Bible doesn't give a single simple answer. Later prophets, like Ezekiel, point to pride, arrogance, and a shocking lack of compassion for the poor and needy. The people had grown complacent in their prosperity and had forgotten the basic principles of kindness and justice. It was a society that had turned its back on goodness and empathy, creating an outcry that reached the heavens. Hearing this, Abraham is deeply concerned. His nephew Lot lives in Sodom with his family. In one of the most moving dialogues in the Bible, Abraham begins to bargain with God. He asks, "Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked?" He starts by asking if God would spare the city for the sake of 50 righteous people. God agrees. Abraham, showing incredible boldness and compassion, continues to negotiate, lowering the number from 50 to 45 to 40, all the way down to just 10. For the sake of 10, God promises, "I will not destroy it." This moment is profound. It reveals God's immense patience and his desire to show mercy. It also highlights Abraham's incredible love for others, as he stands in the gap, pleading for their lives. With this promise in hand, two of the visitors, now revealed to be angels, arrive at the city gates of Sodom as evening falls. There they meet Lot, who, like his uncle Abraham, immediately recognizes their special nature and insists on offering them hospitality and protection in his home. This act of kindness stands in stark contrast to what is about to happen. Before the visitors can even settle in for the night, the house is surrounded. The Bible describes a scene where all the men of the city, from every quarter, young and old, demand that Lot bring out his guests so they can commit a terrible act of violence against them. This scene is often the most cited part of the story, highlighting the city's extreme wickedness and complete disregard for the sacred laws of hospitality, which were paramount in ancient cultures. They weren't just inhospitable, they were aggressive, cruel, and intent on violating the strangers under Lot's protection. Lot, in a desperate and misguided attempt to protect his guests, makes a terrible offer to the mob, suggesting they take his daughters instead. This shows just how chaotic and morally bankrupt the city had become, that a father would even consider such a thing. The mob rejects his offer and tries to break down the door. It's a moment of pure chaos and terror. The angels then intervene decisively. They pull Lot back inside, shut the door, and strike the men outside with a blinding light, causing them to weary themselves trying to find the entrance. The divine protection is clear, and the city's fate is sealed. There were not even 10 righteous people to be found. The angels then deliver an urgent message to Lot: "Get your family and flee this place immediately, for we are about to destroy it." They instruct him not to look back, and not to stop anywhere in the plain, but to escape to the mountains. This command is crucial, as it is a longing for the old life, a hesitation to fully leave behind the corruption and embrace salvation. As dawn breaks, the angels, seeing Lot hesitate, literally grab him, his wife, and his 2 daughters by the hand and lead them out of the city. The scripture says this was because the Lord was merciful to him. Even in this moment of judgment, God's mercy is active, physically pulling Lot and his family to safety. Once they are a safe distance away, the Bible describes a terrifying scene. The Lord rains down sulfur and fire from the heavens upon Sodom and Gomorrah and the entire plain. The cities, all their inhabitants, and everything that grew in the valley are completely destroyed. It's a total and catastrophic end. But the tragedy doesn't end there. In a heartbreaking moment, Lot's wife, against the angel's direct command, looks back. The reason isn't stated, but we can imagine it was a look of longing, of regret, of attachment to the life she was leaving behind. And in that instant, She becomes a pillar of salt, a permanent monument to the danger of a divided heart and the consequence of disobedience. She was saved from the city, but she failed to leave the city behind in her heart. Lot and his 2 daughters escaped to a cave in the mountains. The story that follows is a difficult one, reflecting the deep trauma and moral confusion that resulted from their experience. They are the sole survivors of their world, and their subsequent actions showed just how deeply the corruption of Sodom had affected them. So what are we to make of this dramatic and sobering story? It's not just a tale of fire and brimstone. It's a profound exploration of justice, mercy, and the human condition. First, it's a powerful lesson about the consequences of societal decay. Sodom wasn't just destroyed for one specific sin, but for a pervasive culture of pride, cruelty, and a complete lack of compassion. It serves as a timeless warning that when a society turns its back on kindness and justice, it sets itself on a path to self-destruction. Second, the story beautifully showcases the power of intercession and God's inclination toward mercy. Abraham's bold negotiation with God reveals a divine character, who is patient and willing to relent from judgment for the sake of even a small number of righteous people. It encourages us to be like Abraham, to stand in the gap and pray for our communities and our world. Finally, the story of Lot's wife is a cautionary tale about the danger of looking back. It reminds us that when we are called to move forward into a new life, we must do so with our whole hearts, leaving behind old habits and attachments that can hinder our progress and prevent us from fully embracing the future God has for us. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah challenges us to examine our own lives and our own societies. Are we building communities based on compassion, hospitality, and justice? Or are we, in our own ways, becoming complacent and turning away from those in need? It's a story that, thousands of years later, still calls us to choose righteousness, to practice mercy, and to never ever look back. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into one of the Bible's most powerful stories. If you found this exploration meaningful, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Till next time, stay curious and keep exploring.